Most people think joy is just something that will happen to them. One day, things will come together. You think that one day you'll finally be happy. But here's the truth. Joy isn't just some lucky accident. It's not the magical aha moment that just drops into your life when everything's perfect. It's a skill. And like any skill, you can train it, improve it, and get better at feeling it. So today I'm going to share with you 7 proven ways that you can do just that and how you can implement them into your life to achieve more joy more often. Before we dive in though, I have to tell you something important. I have a little disclaimer about this whole thing. And it's that if you are so attached to the end goal, you're already pushing it away. If you're chasing joy as a goal itself, you're already pushing it away. It's like trying to fall asleep. The harder you try, the harder it gets. You have to create the right conditions and let joy show up on its own. So that is really the goal of these habits. These habits might not bring joy as just like the end goal, aggregate, whatever, because it's not a static thing, right? What these are doing is they're science-backed, personally tested ways to help create the conditions to make joy show up, because it's not really something you can push toward. It's not like a money outcome, right? You can't just keep going and push toward it because it's something that's just inside you now, and you have to kind of unlock it. So that is what these habits are doing. So without further ado, let's get into this. The first habit today is train your brain to notice micro moments. So your brain is running on filters. It has to. Otherwise, you'd be overwhelmed by every sound, color, smell, and detail in your environment. That filter is called the reticular activating system, or the RES, and it decides what gets your attention based on what you've signaled is important. Now, this is very important because your brain, it runs on patterns. So if you talk constantly about stress, you'll notice more stress. If you focus on problems, your RS will go, you love problems. Here's more of them, right? But if you deliberately pay attention to the small moments of beauty or love or joy, your RAS will start serving you more of those instead. Life is literally our perception of our experience, right? Our consciousness is just what we consciously perceive, but all these things are going on at once. It's just what we choose to pick out. For example, with the last one of small moments, last week I was walking home. My brain was completely fried from work. I was just going on a little walk around the neighborhood, and I noticed the way that this light hit a puddle on the sidewalk. It reflected a perfect upside down version of the house next to it. And I mean, that's totally ordinary, but it was also quietly magical. I caught myself smiling without even realizing it, right? That's the power of micro moments. So here's how you can train this. At night, write down 3 things you appreciated that lasted under 10 seconds. It could be the smell of toast, the sound of laughter through a wall, the warmth of a mug in your hands in morning coffee. And the more you practice noticing, the more your brain will see them automatically. And I want you to notice when you start to see them automatically and thank yourself and appreciate that in itself. And that's a constant drip of joy through your day. And it's a constant reminder that, wow, there are good things happening right now. And it's amazing how you reframe your brain for joy. Like, I started with this one. If I was smart, I would have put it at the end because it's the most powerful. But no, I just wanted to give you guys that right away because it is so potent. It is so potent in my life. When I see something amazing, it's amazing how I feel it. I recognize it, even if it's so small. All right, so moving on to the second habit. Now this one isn't as unique, I guess, but it's move your body in joyful ways. Everyone knows this. Movement is one of the most direct ways to influence your emotional state. But most people, they turn it into a chore. And this might be you. You think exercise is to be intense, sweaty, painful, to count. And maybe that's fine for fitness goals, but when it comes to joy, not so much. When you move in a way you genuinely enjoy, your body releases dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins, and these chemicals work like natural antidepressants. And unlike a treadmill session you hate, joyful movement teaches your brain to associate physical activity with pleasure instead of punishment. For me, rock climbing is pure joy. Uh, Most of the time, I'm in flow. My mind's quiet if I'm on the wall and doing something I love, and I feel alive. And I'm also surrounding myself with people that I love to talk to and hang out with. That's a big part of it as well. But it doesn't have to be rock climbing. I mean, for most people, it's never going to be rock climbing. For some people, it's walking their dog every day, or rollerblading, or maybe it's even doing some freaking ridiculous TikTok dance in their living room. Whatever floats your boat. But tomorrow, I want you to pick something, a type of exercise that you would really, really look forward to. And for some people, this might be really hard, right? But there's going to be something out there, even if it's just going for a little walk on the sunset right after dinner, that that's great as well. So just pick something that you think you would look forward to, and it doesn't have to be anything special, and do that, because it, like I said, it's like natural antidepressants. So the third habit is savor like a scientist. Savoring is simply the practice of extending the life of a positive moment, because so many of us live with the baggage of our negative moments. But why do none of us live with the balloons, the things that elevate us from our positive moments? Think about how you eat dessert. Most people take a bite and then they just gobble it all down. And before they know it, everything's gone. The experience is gone. But if you slow down, if you let the bite of cake, or I like chocolate bars, just sit on your tongue for a few seconds, you amplify the enjoyment. It's actually so much better. I started doing this a little while ago, like just completely savoring my chocolate. It's amazing, and you don't feel like you need more after it. And this isn't just about food. It works for music, conversations, nature, anything really. Neuroscience shows that by holding a positive experience in your mind for even 10 to 20 seconds helps transfer it from short-term to long-term memory. That means your brain starts treating it as something worth repeating, and you start noticing more opportunities for it, more opportunities to savor joy. Example of this is I'm in LA right now, and that means I had to leave my friends and family. And when I left my mom, instead of giving her a quick, like, 2-second hug, I gave her like a 20-30 second hug. And those are just amazing. And I can still feel it now, right? And it was and just like continuing the joy of the moment. I let myself feel it. She let herself feel it. When you can really just slow down and savor these small moments, it really amplifies the rest of your life. So tomorrow, today, whenever you're listening to this, pick one moment to savor, stop, breathe, focus all your attention on it for at least 10 seconds, and you'll feel it stick. So the fourth habit is do something kind anonymously. Helping others makes us feel good, but here's a little known twist. Doing it without anyone knowing can make the joy even stronger, however counterintuitive that seems. And why? Because it removes your ego from the equation. You're not doing this act of kindness for recognition. You're doing it for the pure act of making someone's day better. You're not going to be the hero because no one knows you're the hero. So a study from the University of British Columbia found that people who performed acts of kindness anonymously experienced longer lasting boosts in happiness than those who received recognition. One of the best examples of this is a guest I had on my show named Steve Gamlin, where he said he'd go into a coffee shop and he'd pay for the next person's coffee, but he didn't want them to know it was him. And he would just sit in the corner and watch them smile as they got it. And sometimes they would pass it on to others. So you don't have to do this, but this week just do one kind thing without telling anyone and watch how it changes your day, maybe the other person's as well. So the fifth habit is create more than you consume. Now, this is a hard deficit to get out of in the 21st century because in today's world, we're drowning in content. You can scroll, stream, or swipe for hours without moving an inch. You can even get lost online. And while consumption can be entertaining, creation is where the joy comes from. When you create, whether it's pieces of writing, a drawing, a song, or even a home cooked meal, your brain releases dopamine in a way that consumption cannot ever match. And you feel a sense of agency, ownership, and self expression that's impossible to get from watching someone else do it. The key, you don't have to be good at it. In fact, removing the pressure to be perfect often makes the joy even stronger. When I first started my podcast, I didn't really know what I was doing, but every episode I put out, no matter how messy, gave me this deep, satisfying feeling that scrolling through Instagram never did. And now when you create, you don't have to post it even. You don't have to show it to anyone. Just create something, draw something small, write a little piece, write it in your journal even, right? That's creating. You don't feel pressure to post it online. You don't have to do that. Not everyone has to be a content creator. So today, pick something small to create, even if it's just like making a sandwich with some extra things on it, right? Just get creative and you don't have to share it. Just create it to create it and feel how that feels. All right, so the sixth habit is to connect deeply, even if it's briefly with someone. Joy often hides in the cracks between people and small moments of connection that could have easily been skipped over. The trick is to go just one layer deeper than most conversations. When someone says something, instead of nodding and moving on, ask one more question. Did you say that? How did that feel? That one extra step can turn a very generic interaction into something that you'll think about for the rest of the day or even week. I love asking these questions to people. This is one of my greatest skills, connecting on a deep level with strangers. And I think it's one of the reasons I'm as joyful as I am, because I can create deep connections with people I've never met before. It's very often just asking them the questions that they want to answer, but nobody's ever asked them before. So if you can think like, well, what are the questions, the deep questions I would love to talk to somebody about, but they've never asked me that, then ask those to others. It's amazing. Your life will improve by just so many levels. And so today in one conversation, just ask an extra question, one that might seem out of place, but will make the conversation deeper, and watch how the interaction just completely shifts. And so before we get into the seventh habit, I have something to talk about. If you're chasing a dream and you're feeling stuck, burnt out, or unsure of your next move, I also do one-on-one gratitude coaching. I work with ambitious young people to find clarity and momentum, and I help established founders and entrepreneurs shift from a life that looks just good to one that feels good. And it's not therapy or life coaching. It's a real conversation about who you want to become. It's grounded in purpose and built on action. If that sounds like what you need, you can book a free 15-minute call. I'll put my email in the description below. So the seventh habit is practice joy on a delay. Here's something wild. Your brain often releases more dopamine in anticipation of something than it does during the thing itself. This is insane to me. That is true. And that's why the week before vacation can sometimes feel better than the vacation itself. You can use it to your advantage, though, by giving things to look forward to. These things you're looking forward to, they don't have to be huge. Sometimes the best are small. So maybe you have a coffee date, or I don't know, a hangout with a friend that you're looking forward to midweek. Maybe you have a new book arriving in the mail, or you saved your favorite snack for Friday night, or there's a movie you're going to. By planning for these small joys, you give yourself multiple doses, the anticipation, the moment itself, and the memory afterward, because the more you think about something beforehand, the more you're likely to experience it better in the moment, so you have better memories. So your action step on this is put one joyful thing on your calendar, wherever you organize for next week, and enjoy the process of looking forward to it. So that's the episode for today. I want you to remember that joy isn't random. It's not luck. It's not something that just happens when life's perfect. It's a skill. And if you practice these habits I've given you, you'll find it in more places. So Try even just one of these habits this week, not to get joy, but to live fully, and watch how it affects you. Because when you live fully, joy doesn't have a choice. It has to find you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Grateful Podcast. As many of you know, I am on a mission to hit 100,000 downloads of my podcast before I go to college in 2.5 weeks. Right now, we're pretty far away, but I believe we can still get there. What you guys need to do to help me with that is share this episode with as many people as you think would like it. All right. Thank you so much. Go love your lives. Go get some joy. Stay grateful.